Welcome to the Life as an Observer podcast. My name is Ryan Bean. I am your host in self-observation. This podcast is an exploration of physical and non-physical self through discussion around yoga, meditation, self-improvement, self-realization, and practices that elevate the mind, body, soul connection. Let's start observing. This episode of Life as an Observer is made possible by patron support. If you'd like to support this program, you can visit patron.podbean.com/lifeasanobserver to learn more. Well, welcome to Life as an Observer. Today I get the really fun opportunity to talk to my friend Veronika Rose. And we had just got off of a retreat weekend. We were hosting a retreat in Florida, and it was an art and meditation retreat. It included a lot of things like breath work and ice baths. If you're around me, those are probably right around the corner. And we really went deep into our mind through ceremony, through intention, to really find this product, which is our creativity. It was almost designed that way, but then in another way, we kind of morphed the weekend into really finding ourselves again and letting go of that expectations, of that illusion who we thought we were. In today's talk with Veronika, we explore what it is to create intentional spaces and have ceremony in your life that is not just ceremony, big ceremonies, but really finding small things that you can do at home that are ritual or ceremony. We also discuss in larger detail healing for veterans and the use of psychedelic assisted therapy through MDMA, through psilocybin, through mushrooms, to work into this, again, new narrative of who we think we really are, and knowing that healing can start in just small changes. I hope you really enjoy my talk today with Veronika. There are a few areas where we had a little bumpy of an internet connection, but I think the message will really shine through, and you'll be able to really feel the passion that she has for this work, and hear the communication between us. Thanks for listening today. I hope you really enjoyed today's episode with Veronika Rose. Hey V, thanks for joining today. I'm excited to see you, and you're in your studio there with many projects behind you. Thanks for coming on onto Life as an Observer today. So Veronika Rose, you can find Veronika Rose at Veronika Rose Art, social media sites, and on her webpage at Veronika Rose. Is it veronikaroseart.com? Is that right? Yeah, Veronika Rose Art. It is. So Veronika is a artist, a ceremony leader, a facilitator. Veronika is certainly, she used the term moon dancer, and I'm interested to hear more about that. And Veronika does a lot of work with veterans, and so I'm really happy to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that you do to really help our vets, but also just to really help us as humans in general to find more intention into the things we do. And it's almost in a way moving towards our manifestations. And I think that's kind of where we kill a lot of our manifestations, is we don't keep intention behind them. We just sort of say, I'm manifesting this, I want it, I hope I get it. And then we lose track of how to kind of hold that in our foresight. We put it in the back of our brain, hoping that it'll happen, and then we wonder why it never happened. So, Veronika, hi, hello.
Hi,
tell me a little about what a moon dancer is. I want to hear about this.
Sure. So, a moon dancer, it originated in Mexico, and it was an Aztec dance tradition that was lost, and they did it a while ago, and it was been resurrected by this abuela, or the grandmother at the ceremony. And basically it's a gathering of women, and it's by the Pyramid of the Moon in Mexico. And we fast for 4 days while we dance all night in prayer. We're all wearing these white dresses, and there's these different lines, and we're all following the abuela, and she's directing us into these different movements. So when the ancestors from above look down on us, we're creating these patterns and we're creating these symbols for them to see. And that's our way of communicating with them. And we also smoke sacred tobacco in these ceremonies. And we also do 2 sweat lodges a day. So it's a very big purification process. We burn copal the whole time. And that's why I love burning copal. And that's part of my intention setting and part of my clearing for manifestation, like you mentioned. And it's just really sacred ritual, and it's a 4-year commitment. So if you choose to do this, you have to do it for 4 years, and it's normally the full moon in October for us. And at the end of your 4 years, you become a sacred tobacco pipe carrier, and you can lead new moon and full moon tobacco prayers for your community. And it's such an honor. I've been dancing for about 4 years, and I'm getting ready to start a new one with my friend in Florida in 2023. So I'm holding out for them.
So look for retreats happening. I know you host a lot of retreats. That's really cool. I know you host a lot of retreats. I think you and I became familiar with each other through your goddess retreats, and what you and I kind of just playing with retreats at the hostel in the forest, and finding sacred spaces in which we could commune with nature, commune with others, and really kind of help them find their way, whether that be through meditation, through ceremony, lots of ceremonies. And I would like for you to sort of talk about ceremonies, how they apply in your life. For me, I just believe that ceremony has been with us ever since. I think that as the first Homo sapiens walked the earth, they had a ceremony for something, whether it was to go gather, a ceremony to hunt, to gather. There was some sort of ceremony that was always there. And as Westerners, I think we've lost track of that, but I think we're coming back around. We're coming back around to integrating ceremony. So tell me a little bit about what ceremony means to you and how you integrate ceremony into your your day or your weeks or your months.
Sure. So sometimes when people think ceremony these days, they think of ayahuasca or doing plant medicines, which I also am a big fan of. However, I think ceremony is a ritual that you can create yourself and intuitively create in everyday life. And so I love to bless my space with copal. I love to do different water rituals. I have a special water carafe that you fill up your water, it enhances the chi. I leave that on my altar, and then I drink that in the morning, and that's kind of like a morning ritual that I like to do. But as far as ceremony, well, you and I had a great time at the retreat that we just hosted together, and I'm just so grateful to see you guys. But I love creating ritual, and a lot of times that looks like candles and burning copal and just setting intentions. But ceremonies for me have been huge in a healing way. I do participate in a lot of plant medicine ceremonies, and as a veteran, I feel like it's really helped me manage my PTSD and get a lot of clarity as to traumas that even happened before the military, and helping me tune into things I need to release. And so I participate in ayahuasca and peyote and San Pedro ceremonies often, and sweat lodges. I love those kind of rituals. And so I like to help other people find that path too. It's not for everyone. Those plant medicines are very sacred and they should be respected. And it's not everyone feels called to participate in those. And so the people that do, it's very profound, life-changing experience, especially for veterans. And this is a good way too for veterans. When they get out, sometimes they feel lost because they lost their sense of community, and their way of life is totally engulfed with being around other people and being, working, living, eating with all these same people for a long time. And so when we get out, a lot of them feel lost because they've lost their community. And so what I really like about these ceremonies is it's a new community that you can come together with. And you're going through this really powerful healing session together. And we're all encouraging each other to do the deep work. And sometimes when we're purging, I just wanted to mention that. And so veterans can really benefit from this. And so I'm also really into mushrooms and microdosing as well. And I've found a really great I found that to be really helpful in my healing process.
Yeah, I think one of the major takeaways, so I'll preface this for the listeners here, but so Veronika and I were just at a retreat in Florida called Evolve, and we'll probably be doing at least 2 of those a year. in different locations. I think we're talking about doing the next one out here towards me in the west, which would be really great. So maybe in Utah, I guess look for that really soon. This is certainly a sacred land that has been blessed with many, many ceremonies, specifically around nature and plants. But the water ceremony, I think, is something that really the ritual of using. I guess we need to maybe separate ritual and ceremony, even though they're both kind of in the way the same. I think of myself as, my daily sadhana as a ritual. Me getting into the ice bath, me doing breath work. That is a ritual, just like you drinking your water in the morning. But I really liked using that craft intentionally, whether you believe it or not. It's just sort of like it's all about just doing the work and saying, I believe that I'm putting intention into this. Whether you believe that the vortex in the water works or the symbol at the bottom is actually vibrant or not, it's really about being intentional with your thoughts as you do it. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost, is like, why do I need to buy that thing? Well, you don't. Actually, we were drinking out of water bottles that we had written words on, were things that were manifesting. So you could take a water bottle and write the word healthy, or you can write the word abundant or loved. And as you drink that, think those words, and that becomes the ritual, right? You don't necessarily need to have this beautiful craft, but it's nice.
It is nice. But one thing people can do if they don't have this carafe is, if you can spin it in a vortex, that is when the water is more susceptible to receiving messages of love, of, positive energy that you want to place in there. So people can spin their water and do the same kind of thing in setting intention that way. And the water holds memory better in a vortex, because a vortex is simulating as the water leaves the aquifers, and it's normally magnetized and being crushed through rocks and all these layers of filtration. And as it comes out of the spring, it's normally spinning in a vortex, and it's absorbing all of those energies around them: sunlight, moonlight, plants, and all of that good stuff. So it's activated chi. And so basically activating the chi in your water can help you, ingrain it with positive energy, with your own messages. So
I remember I watched something maybe a couple of months ago, when it was about the science of water, and when it talked a lot about the intentions we put in water. I think it specifically had to do with the formation of crystals in the water, as it froze, and how the intention was there, what the snowflakes looked like, or the crystals looked like, as if there were positive energy around it, and what they look like, and they would look very unorganized when they would say things that were negative towards the water. And it was just sort of like an evidence-based test that they showed. And I think I really resonated with that, because this is something that we need every day. You need to have that in your body every day. You have to have water, right? You can't not have water. So as you drink water, and when it becomes intentional, when there is positive energy with it, it's almost like you're bringing that into you and hydrating your cells down to the DNA, not just hydration, not just the actual water itself, but the actual vibration and going into the DNA, going into the cell, and creating that state of being that is well-being, rather than just I'm hydrated. And I think that's where we kind of get lost. And I work at a gym, and they have these giant water bottles, right? And I think they're to challenge you to drink a gallon a day or something like that, right? And it tells you your different timelines. And I always look at it thinking, it's all encouraging and wonderful, but what if it said things like, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're wonderful, and there were affirmations rather than you're hydrated, and maybe you would get a little something more out of your daily hydration ritual.
Definitely. And I just wanted to mention, I think the Dr. Emoto is the doctor that started discovering this, but I actually started following this woman on Instagram, and she goes by the Water Priestess.
Okay.
And she shows all kinds of amazing ways to activate the chi in your water, including like toroidal copper, I guess accessories that you put on top of your water bottle, and it sends this energetic life force through your water while it's being magnetized and vortex. She's hardcore. And but when you look at her skin, I mean, when things are vortexed, it enters your cells easier and you become more hydrated. A lot of us are drinking water, but it's dead, flat water right from the the tap. that's not alive, and it doesn't hydrate us as well as those like vortex water. So I just wanted to add that if anyone was looking into finding more about water, it's really fascinating.
I may need to look in. So I was looking for that carafe. I did a quick search and I couldn't find it.
Okay.
Maybe share that link with me. But I was looking on Amazon and I looked and I just put like water infused chi carafe and I couldn't find it. But I'll share it with the listeners if we can find that. If we can find that link, I'll share it with the listeners in the link below. And it looks like it's from Mesa Crafts. Okay, so I'll look there for them. And I'll put it in our show notes here. But they get all that's really wonderful. The using smoke for creating intentional spaces using water. For me, I have my candle from our ceremony that I burn every night as I still put my intention into it. But I kind of want to talk a little bit about, since I'm a veteran, you're a veteran, and how when I know when I got out. Let me just kind of reenact this a little bit. So when I got out, I felt like the work that I did is what I needed to continue to do, and I felt quite lost. I felt like I needed to. That was the training, and now I'm an adult because I went in when I was 18. So now I get out, and now I'm 28, and I said, well, now what? And I felt quite confused about what my life purpose was, and if I had wasted 10 years or if it was a benefit to me. I wasn't sure. I was in this really weird place of, was that what I was supposed to do? And of course, I hadn't really gone along my awakening path yet. I hadn't really been woken up to my spiritual journey yet. But at that time, I felt quite lost. And I think that having another community would have been a really added benefit to me. Because for me, I felt like I missed out on my 20s. So of course I started to party, go out drinking a lot. I was like, that's what I felt like I needed to do, was make up for lost time. And that now in hindsight I guess I needed to have that, but really I would have been more intentional and I would have moved forward rather than reverting backward. And so I lost a few years, learned a few lessons, but I'm grateful for all of it, but it's certainly that. So tell me about what the community and some of the work that you're doing with veterans and how you're helping them with finding that when they're feeling lost, when they're looking for direction. What is some of the work that you're doing to help vets?
Sure. So, a lot of people have spiritual awakenings, and including veterans. And, I think it's a unique niche of spiritual veterans that when they find each other, they're like, yes, because they have that warrior spirit within them. And it's like, how do you harness the warrior, but, keep it full of love and light? Yes, there's some shadow work to do for sure, and we can release some stuff, but I'm building a community of, I guess, light warriors, and we're creating a space. So we've done a couple veteran retreats, and I host them. They're called Warriors Awakening, and it's basically for magical as fuck veterans that want to come together and just grow spiritually and connect. And it's like a beautiful community that we're forming. And so we do this and we do nature hikes, we do painting workshops, we also focus on the water. And my friend Ryan Holt, who's also been on Naked and Afraid, that's his home, and he built a geodesic dome in the mountains of Maine on 42 acres, and it's just a beautiful space to be. And we do yoga every day, and we just try to, I guess, enliven the spirit again, because a lot of times when we go to war and we're deployed or we're in the military, a part of our spirit dies. And there's this term called moral injury that I've been looking into, and basically it's when veterans or first responders, or cops or police officers, they're doing a job, but they don't really like what they're doing. They don't really feel good about it. And so a lot of people were like, why were we in Iraq? Why were we in Afghanistan? And they did some things that maybe they don't feel great about. And that's a moral injury. And a lot of veterans have that. And so that's why these ceremonies are really great, in general, is to help kind of clear that, to ask for forgiveness for themselves, because a lot of people have a lot of guilt, and survivor's guilt especially. And so our Warriors Awakening retreat is to help revive the spirit of all the veterans. that resonate with this. And it's been really profound and it's very helpful, and to find a community. And we all keep in touch afterwards too. And we're all visiting each other still. And, but once you find your community, you can kind of breathe a little bit like, like maybe they're not directly, in your neighborhood or in your town, but with the beauty of social media, even though it does have a lot of downsides, but the beauty of it is we can stay connected and stay in touch. And so that spirit and that group harmony doesn't dispel, I guess. So, yeah.
So how often do you do those? So they're in Maine, they're at Ryan's house, right? Or his property. How often do you do those retreats?
So we've been doing them about once a year, but we're probably going to do two, spring and fall. And so I'd love to keep doing that. We also, I'm also a psychedelic integration coach. So while we were there, we talked a lot about microdosing and the benefits to a lot of the people. And at the past retreat too, we talked a lot about that too, specifically with mushrooms. And that's been really profound, because a lot of those medicines are specifically mushrooms. You can mix with other pharmaceutical medications, and there's a whole list. My people are worried like, oh, is this going to have a drug interaction? Well, they have a whole site where they talk about which drugs you can take with microdosing. So, but also you don't want to just jump in without researching or anything like that. So I'm not recommending that, but I definitely want people to know that there are other methods of healing besides pharmaceuticals, specifically with depression and anxiety. And it's not just one thing, fixes everything. It's a combination of, your habits and your rituals, and, working on yourself. And it's like a long path. I've been out about 15 years and I'm still doing the work. I'm still clearing. I'm still, trying to free myself from these triggers. I mean, I still get alarmed with loud noises and, things like that.
Where did you say you found that? I think we had an internet little glitch there, but where did you say you found the site that you what pharmaceuticals mix with mushrooms? What is it called?
Sure, it's microdosinginstitute.com.
Okay, microdosinginstitute.com, and that is, I guess, a key element to your veterans retreats, right? Is that's an option if they wanted to participate. And
yeah, well, I wasn't expecting it. I just was sharing the information, and then everybody was like, "Oh my God, how can we learn more?" And
that's kind of like us at our last retreat. Everyone's like, "I want to know more. Let's do that." Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting. I'm not a shaman by any means. I'm not trying to lead a ceremony, but I'm just educating people and helping them find the resources. But in the future, I am working with a Mexican curandera, and she is also a licensed therapist who can prescribe mushrooms and MDMA. So we are planning a retreat in the end of February in Florida to help veterans with psychedelics. So legally, she's a therapist that can offer that. So I'm really excited to work with someone like that.
Yeah, where can people find information about that retreat? Is it best to look at your website, or is there another site that they need to look at if they were interested in signing up for that, or is it closed, or is it open still?
Well, right now we are going to do 2 weekends in Florida and about 6 participants each weekend. And so if anyone's interested, they can sign up on my newsletter, veronikaroseart.com.
Okay.
And just message me and say that, hey, I'm a veteran, I'm interested, and we can try to get you in there soon, because the therapist has to talk to everyone and make sure that it's okay, make sure there's no drug interactions, specifically with the MDMA. That can have a lot of interactions with people. So normally she serves MDMA to help, kind of in a small dose too, to help relax everybody. And then we do 3 grams of mushrooms with an eye mask, and everyone lays down. And so the MDMA helps you kind of like open your body up for like 6 hours while everything's happening. We have music on and things like that too. So it's not a ceremony, I guess. It's more, it is very sacred still, but you're doing your own work by yourself. And they have you wear your eye mask too, because a lot of times with mushrooms, everything looks bright and it's beautiful and you want to dance and you want to move sometimes. But with the eye mask on, it really makes you go within, and it helps you really go inward and with less distractions, kind of like a float tank, it's like You want to be minimal distractions, and that way you can really do the work.
Yeah, I've experimented a little bit with using ice baths and using breath work in conjunction with psychedelic assisted therapy. So I've worked with ketamine and with psilocybin, adding breath work, ice baths, and then floating, and I can see how that kind of that almost a circle, if you will, of just different modalities of like, let's shock let's get really deep by that shock of the ice a little bit and that cortisol and that adrenaline, and then let's slow it down, and then let's go really deep within it. And I think we're finding that these things work. I mean, these it's been around for maybe since the 1940s or 1950s with Stan Grof had some things, and we had, and then legislation came in. Legislation came in and shut down all the stuff that was happening at Harvard with Timothy Leary and some others that were doing a little bit of work. I think Timothy Leary maybe was a little bit too flamboyant, and his personality is kind of what ended up, some people believe, shutting everything down, because it wasn't all backed with science. It was just kind of like, this is what I feel and think, and it was kind of rogue. And I think what we're doing now is saying we don't need to be rogue. We can actually do this in a very soft manner and offer it in ways that are accessible. And I think we're finding, especially with cannabis opening up in most all states, that's a really good entry point. I don't know the legalities around MDMA, but I know that in many states, psychoactive mushrooms are becoming more available and at least decriminalized in many locales. And there are some organizations like in Utah, where I'm at, the Divine Assembly, which makes ceremony legal under the Religious Statutes Act. And I know that there's the Ayahuasca Church and some others. So tell me a little bit about that for you. I mean, are you running into any pushback, or I guess maybe more questions? But are you running into any pushback as our country opens back up and people are wanting to gather and heal? Are you getting any pushback legally, or people just feeling scared because they're not sure? Like, I guess there needs to be an education around this. And are you getting any pushback at all, or are you just finding that it's pretty easy?
Well, to be honest, I know Florida is in the works to make it all legalized. So technically, it's, we have to go underground with this.
Yeah.
But we're just creating a safe setting, and we're asking everyone to be really private about what they're doing, and maybe not post on social media like, hey, I'm doing this crazy, ritual. And yeah, I guess technically it's not super legal.
Well, and maybe not in some states, but in some it is.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I'm excited to do some work with you in Utah as well, where we can get those legalities kind of handled.
Yeah, I mean, I look at them as loopholes, but I'm going to use the loopholes for what we can, because frankly, governments have been using loopholes to prosecute forever. So we may as well use loopholes to provide, to provide healing. And I think what's most important, and I know you and I have spoke about this at our retreat last weekend, but it's really just about creating a safe container for the participants and holding a ceremony that is conducive to calm, to relaxing, and to healing. And I think if we're not doing it in a Timothy Leary fashion, we're doing acid tests with the Grateful Dead playing and we're closing down streets, then we're okay. I think that we're okay in those ways because we're here to help. Our intention is to heal, and our intention is not to party. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with actually something quite sacred and creating that space. And I had a profound, I didn't actually even share this with you, but so we did some microdosing at our last retreat, and I've been hitting some walls with creativity, and I found that through that small dose that I was it's almost like I tapped into a realm of consciousness that was in between my another realm and where I am currently, my incarnation, to where I could create a little bit more, or at least it felt like I was freer to create. And then when I went to paint the next day, I was back at that wall again. And I think part of that might be just past programming, saying I can't create, I can't do that, right? And that microdose of mushrooms really helps push you past the conscious thinking and into more of a subconscious to heal those patterns and rewire what you think you're capable of. Because I got really stoked. I started painting maracas, and I started painting a painting that was, in my opinion, very difficult. It was a very difficult scene to paint. Techniques that I don't know anything about. I don't know how to paint water, and I've never done that before. So as it relates to veterans, maybe the blockage isn't creativity. Maybe the blockage is I can be vulnerable. Maybe the blockage is I can be a good parent. Maybe the blockage is I can be a good partner to someone. Maybe the blockage is I can do more than shoot a gun, right? And that's maybe what we see as we offer that microdose is a change of perspective that from what we've been programmed to do.
And then take your medicine, because that's going to help. Like we said, even if it is, my internet's breaking up a little bit. And what the thing that I offer too is, like, as veterans, we've been in this warrior space, and because for me, I had a really bad PTSD. I don't know how you felt, but because we've been to those dark places, is why we can offer help to other people. Because we've experienced that, and as for me too, as a female veteran, I feel like I have an advantage because I can be a little bit soft and vulnerable around people, and that helps other people feel comfortable to open up too. And some of the elements that I like to bring to help soften, because a lot of these vets are really hard and rigid, especially when they come out. I like to offer flower essence. Because it is really gentle, and it works on a vibrational level, and it works on an emotional level, and helps just to soften the body, the mind, along with other things as well. That's nurturing, and sometimes we just need to feel nurtured, and we need to feel seen and heard, and our stories expressed. I think we have a lot of work to do as veterans to help other people. I know you and I have both been doing a lot of work since we've been going out, and not everybody knows they need to do any work. And so I think COVID really helped people last year kind of figure out what their priorities were. And
I like what you just said there, that a lot of people don't know that they need to do work.
Right.
I really like that a lot, because it's saying, well, this is who I am. And that's the illusion. This is who I am. I have these things that I've been through, and so this is who I am, and that's how I am, and that's how I'm going to be. And that's doesn't have to be, right? That is who you once were,
right?
Because that's the image or the Maya that you saw yourself as. That's illusion of yourself. But today, even though you used to shoot a weapon, and even though you used to wear camouflage, today you can wear mala beads, and you can be more compassionate. You can take that experience and call it contrasting to where you are now, and use it as a lesson. And that's certainly the way I was. I didn't know that I could not be anything other than violent. And those who get trapped in it, saying, well, this is who I am, in a way it's a self-sabotage for their future relationships, their parenting, their jobs. And not that they're a bad person. I want to emphasize that. Not that you're a bad person because this is how you feel. But if you really want to step into your truest self, attending one of Veronika's retreats is amazing. To get to Maine is not that hard. You probably fly up to Boston or Portland, and then take a little drive up to Ryan's house. Ryan's amazing. I know him also, and just hang out up there. I know there's another group out there that I've been trying to talk to, the Heroic Hearts. I know they do a lot of work with psychedelic assisted therapy for veterans also. I remember you and I talked about this. You've had some conversations with them, is that right? Or
yeah, I haven't personally done any retreats with them, but many of my friends have, and they speak very highly of them, and they're definitely for the movement of just getting out of the the mind frame that pharmaceuticals are going to solve everything. You know,
Yeah.
they really help you embody mind, body, spirit aspects, and using these sacred medicines. And yeah, they're an amazing group, and I look forward to working with them. Doc Kate, she helps to co-facilitate a lot of the retreats, and her and I, she has a monthly integration call that veterans that
Oh.
do medicine can log in, and we can all chat about our experiences, how we're doing. So I participate in some of those.
You do
Uh,
personal coaching too, right? If people wanted to just do coaching with you, so if the veterans that are listening, doesn't really matter the branch or whatnot, but if they wanted coaching directly with you, they can reach you probably through your page. Is that the best place? Through
yeah, they can. I love chatting about this, and
through veronicaroseart.com, and there's a contact us page there. Is that right?
there is, yep. Or you can email me directly at veronicaroseart@gmail.com too, and we can set something up. I've been trained through a program called Being True to You, and that is an addiction recovery, transformational, and psychedelic integration coaching program. And that
Cool.
is amazing too. They offer a discount to veterans, anyone that wants to learn more of how to become a coach. They're amazing, and it's a 5 month long training, but it's pretty intense, and you have to face a lot of your shit and your own addictions, and everyone's addicted to something. Even it doesn't have to be hard drugs, but it could be
Yeah.
coffee, it could be your cell phone. I mean, all kinds of different things, and it helps you kind of where you are and you're stuck in it. It's really helpful. So we recommend that course for sure.
Amazing. Be true to you.
Yeah, Being True to You. They also, if you once you're in and you're a coach, like they need veterans to help, because you can help them, because they go to also veteran retreats that serve medicine, and you can help hold space for the veterans
Yeah.
that are taking mushrooms and things like that. And they need more people to help, because as the psychedelic renaissance is expanding and word is getting out there and all the positive research, they're doing more and more events to help veterans, and they need other veterans to help assist. So if that feels like something people feel called to do, I would highly recommend getting involved.
So let's talk about I guess first steps. So we've kind of gone a gambit of intentional spaces, psychedelic assisted therapy, the path of the warrior, and someone who may be listening to this who says, well, I don't know if I need any of that. I mean, I'm okay, I think. And they're looking at maybe just making a change. They're finding that maybe they're, at least for me, not satisfied in a job, not satisfied in a relationship, there was just something missing. And for me, I have my own rituals that I do daily that people can start participating in, like breath work is an amazing one to get connection to self. Ice baths are an amazing way to be in the present moment and nowhere else. To be in that space that you can't change, manipulate, you can just find perspective in. And then with psychedelic assisted therapy, whether it be mushrooms or MDMA or ayahuasca, to finding a deeper meaning in their purpose in life. And there's so many things, and what I find is, if I were looking at this not from where I'm sitting now, but where I was sitting 20 years ago, I would be overwhelmed with information. I would say, well, I don't know what to do because I don't know what I need, and I don't know where to start. And so I guess what I'm asking of you is give those veterans who are listening maybe three things that they can just start doing and working towards your retreat. So if they were preparing to come in February and they're feeling like holidays are tough, how do I get through this? Three things that maybe you would offer to them to just get started, to create intention, to start ritual, and to get prepared for an amazing, life-changing thing in February.
Sure. So definitely setting intentions and really thinking about what they want to call in their life. I've done ceremonies where I'm like, I really want to work on the relationship with my family, and really want to develop a stronger relationship with my mom and my dad, and just coming to a place of humility and realizing that, nobody's perfect and it's okay. We're constantly doing the work, but setting an intention and really going in and seeing what things are working in your life, what are not working,
Yeah.
what's not working. For the veteran retreat in Maine and also this upcoming retreat, we ask everyone to start meditating if they can, even like a minute a day, and just to slowly build up, because at these retreats, we're going to be meditating at least 10 to 15 minutes. We won't there times if you're not used to meditation, if you're not used to meditation and you're in a group setting and you're trying to meditate, it can bring on a lot of anxiety if you're not prepared.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get everyone prepared, and having them start with a small little increments of meditation, and also doing their own research. WebMD is not going to be the best place to look, because it really just scares the shit out of you in all aspects. So there are other way, the microdosing.com would be a great resource for people to look into and do their own research, because there's different protocols that people can do, and they spell them out too. And if you're a fan of Paul Stamets and all his mycology wizardry information, they even go in and they talk about the Stamets stack and his protocol for microdosing too. So really, I have everyone read through the website and see what resonates with them, what protocol do they want to do. And that's, because after a big macro dose, which is what we do at the psychedelic retreats, it's a really profound, process that afterwards you can maintain a little bit of that through microdosing afterward. And so just giving everyone the information to start now and be gentle, be gentle on yourself, but you also have to start building self-awareness as well.
Yeah, so start with intention, do a little bit of meditation, just start light, and I think that is, I think that's a good start. I mean, I think it's a really good start. Even just 1 minute. I have some 3-minute meditations on Insight Timer that are really, really easy. 3 minutes long. We did one at the retreat, right? We did one little 3-minute affirmation. It was just like get started, and then kind of start to educate yourself, and that's great, because I'm learning more about the Paul Stamets and his stack, and I want to give that a try, because I've always had intention behind my doses, but I've never done an actual microdosing protocol that was tried and tested by someone. I just was like, okay, day on, day off, 2 days here, 3 days there. What am I feeling? And it was more introspective than it was like trying someone's protocol. And so I'm very excited to try that. I had chatted about that a little bit and how we can integrate that. And so, I'm looking forward to that. I think we're going to be doing a call soon, so people will hear about this, about a retreat that'll happen here in the Great Basin of Utah in the very near future. So it'll probably be after your retreat in Florida, maybe even after the one in Maine. So you have a couple of them coming up in the spring. You're going to be quite the traveler. Yeah.
I am, and you know what? I'm about to get my van so I can come visit you and live van life for a little bit, and that. What's really cool is, like, when I got out of the military, I realized how free I could be. And I just want to share with other people that you can be free too. Yeah. You don't have to live this typical 9 to 5. You can create something that makes you feel good. And me doing these retreats has been very fulfilling. And it feels so good when people are really into it as well. It's a really powerful introspective experience when you're painting something, especially when it sucks, because it's all about listening to your own self-talk. What are you saying to yourself when you don't get it right? And a lot of people are afraid to paint because they're like, oh, I'm not going to do it. But I love it when people paint and they're like, oh my God, I surprised myself. Wow, I did that. And it takes time and creating a sacred space for you to get into that zone. And then once you're in that zone, you paint, and you just, it's a very, like your ice bath, you're very present. And a lot of times when you're in that flow state, you receive these downloads, you receive these messages on things that you need to shift about your life, especially if you set the intention before painting. I've seen some really profound energy shifts as a group. We've all meditated together and we're visualizing a healing symbol that we want to create. A lot of us, we don't realize that we're seeing the same messages and healing symbols. So actually, I studied with Alex Gray, an amazing visionary painter, and he led a retreat that I attended, and we did a journey where there's a drum, and we went on this journey to retrieve our healing symbol. Afterward, he asked the class, like, "Hey, what did you guys see?" And everyone, I was like, "Oh, I saw this like eyeball fractal." And then he goes, "All right, well, who else saw that eyeball fractal?" And about half the class also saw the same thing.
Wow.
So when you're in that space in a meditative place, it is a powerful prayer manifestation, and you're all coming together and praying and healing, and it's just my favorite thing to share with other people.
I think that, I mean, not outside of Evolve even, I think we need to do a veterans retreat too. I think that would just be really amazing between the two of us and the things that we can bring together. So offline, you and I can chat about that and see what your schedule looks like. But I really plan on my next year being full of retreats pretty much every month. So at least one a month, especially if we're in vans and doing that. So
I just wanted to say also that what you offered at the retreat was super just profound, and it's been beautiful to see you grow as a professional, because we've hung out at the Hostel in the Forest, and you led a couple yoga sessions there, but I've just a couple events there too, and just to see your growth as an instructor has been beautiful. And the ice bath, I was so anxious, and I remember about 30 seconds in, I was crying, I was shivering, I was like, "Oh, I'm ready to get out." And I almost got out, and you were like, "You can get out, or you can just continue breathing." And then once I relaxed into it and started breathing, we did it for like 3.5 minutes, and you're just gentle presence, and you were so present to help every person. It was just really, it felt really good, especially knowing you're a veteran, and just to know that you kind of transitioned out of that one mentality into a more peaceful, present mentality. It was just really cool to know that you transform like that. So I just wanted to put that out there. So if anyone else is interested in learning from Ryan, like I totally, thumbs up for that.
Thank you. That's really kind. Ice baths has been something that I've seen my own transformation by doing, and my own greatest work. I mean, I have thousands of hours of yoga teacher training and tens of thousands of teaching, but really what's been most profound for me is those few moments sitting in the ice alone, receiving. And yeah, I like to offer that to anyone. And so I think from going forward, now that I wasn't really planning on doing ice baths necessarily at this retreat, but it just sort of evolved into that. And I said, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's put this together. And then we did it 2 days in a row. So because people wanted more of that. So I think wherever we go, we're going to be probably offering the option of ice bathing, bathing, offering the option of microdosing, offering the offering of painting, and just having options for our participants, because there's so many options, and we don't know what yours is going to resonate. Right. For some, they may say, breath work is great, but I'm not interested in painting, And that's okay, because everyone's modality of healing will be different. And we're here to just simply be conduits of tools and procedures, just protocols to keep it safe. But none of us really know what you need. And I think that's what's key is Veronika and I, when we come into as ceremony leaders and facilitators, we don't think we're the experts, you're here to learn. We really kind of come into this mindset where we're saying, I know a few things, and let's try it. This worked for me. I even teach things that don't work for me because they've worked for other people. I say that's not the way I like to do it, but you may. And I think the key factor, you mentioned 3 things to get ready for retreat, but I think even before that is saying, I do want to step into another person, or I want to step into another life, or this. When I say another person, I mean like my highest self, not another body, but I want to step into my higher self. I want to step into my own potential. Maybe I need to get a little bit more vulnerable to be able to believe that I need help. And those who are saying I don't need help, check yourself. Yeah. Because we all do. Everyone. Yeah. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how great of a house you grew up in. I don't care any of that, all of us need to do daily work.
And
And go
well, I
ahead.
was just going to say, well, if people are nervous to attend a retreat by themselves, like bring your battle buddy,
Yeah.
bring somebody that you've already been vulnerable with, that you've gone, and you guys can come together, and it builds that alliance and it builds more community that way too. I just want to put that in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Let
100%.
it break up again.
I agree. We had some mothers and daughters that came to our last retreat, and yeah, definitely bringing in a friend or bringing a partner. Especially, I mean, in some instances, bringing your partner is quite beneficial. Like if you're in a romantic relationship, to open lines of communication and to kind of work through vulnerability with each other. Just there's lots of reasons to do that. So, lots of retreats. I'll put your information in the show notes and along how to get a hold of you. Also the Mesa Crafts, which I'm excited because I think that's going to be something that I'm going to be buying in the very near future for my altar. I have one little altar behind me. You can sort of see it there. And then
Maraca.
oh yeah, you see the maraca there? Yeah, I got a maraca, I got a Buddha, and then my tapestry from India, and a couple little books in the background. Then I have another altar on this other side. They're all over the place. I do a lot of geological collecting. We'll call it rock hounding. So I have a lot of crystals and rocks that I've harvested, we'll say, from Mother Earth, and to appreciate the beauty and turn them in. Usually I give them out as gifts. I just kind of pass them along because I know that their healing properties can be there if their intention is there. So Veronika, thanks for joining me today. We went a little longer than we discussed, but it's thanks for taking the time and chatting with me. And I'm looking forward to things that we have planned. I know that once we get through the holiday, we're going to chat. I have a tentative call scheduled with our one of our partners, and you'll be on that call for us to talk retreats. So I just said, let's get through the holiday first, and then let's start planning March, April, May, and we'll start putting some stuff together for the spring. So Veronika Rose at veronikaroseart.com, and you can get her at veronikaroseart@gmail.com, right? Mm-hmm. veronikaroseart@gmail.com, and then of course me through this medium. So Veronika, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Much love.
Appreciate it.